It's time to unleash the expert. What is he an expert on? Relationships, sex, spirituality, and rediscovering yourself beyond the trauma. Get ready to unleash more purpose, passion, and pleasure in your life. Here's the expert himself, Mr. Brannon Patrick.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Brannon Patrick Show. Really appreciate you listening and joining me with all the different topics we talk about. I like having difficult conversations, awkward conversations. I don't shy away from anything. And I got one of my good buddies here today, Bevan Wilde, with me. So, Bevan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here, man.
I love Bevan. We go golfing, and there's really not anything that we shy away from talking about.
No, no, not really. We get pretty deep sometimes.
Yeah. Challenge whatever we need to challenge and things we're struggling with. And if there's things we're believing in or thinking that are causing us problems, I think we're willing to talk about it. Whether it has to do with career or a relationship or mental health or whatever it is. So that's why Bevan's on the show, because he's an honest, open man who absolutely knows how to achieve amazing things in his life. And I just want to turn it over to you, Bevan, a little bit and just talk about what you do and then maybe some of the struggles that you have.
Sure. Sometimes I don't know what I do. Well, let me give you a little bit of my background. I've been in the financial services industry for, going on 28 years now. So quite a long
You're getting old, Bevan.
I'm getting old. Just turned 50 literally 3 weeks ago. So, but my mind feels like I'm an 18-year-old in an old man's body. So, and I have a hip replacement about 4 months ago.
Really?
So, yeah, complete hip replacement. So I'm getting old for sure. But I've been in the financial area for 28 years, and then in the personal development and leadership area, almost 20 years now.
Right.
And I think it kind of led into that from working and coaching with clients over the years. And naturally, that's what I am. I'm a coach.
Right.
And I enjoy that part of it. I think I get more out of it than people I work with do. I'm always trying to learn.
But and you're a coach, like,
yeah.
You coach people, you motivate them in their careers and financially, but Bevan's an awesome wrestling coach. And football coach. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. There's a lot of great wrestling coaches and football coaches out there. I do it because I love connecting with these young men, and I know what they're headed for.
Right.
And so I like to get them prepared on and off the mat or on and off the field.
Right. And a lot of the principles are similar, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're coaching an adult with their finances or a kid on the mat, right?
I've got 4 athletes throughout the country that I'm training right now that I'm working with one-on-one. And when I work with them, when I work with entrepreneurs, there really isn't that much of a difference.
Right. Yep. Same principles.
Yep.
So let's talk about those principles today, Bevan, and maybe talk about some of the struggles, because when it comes to achievement, reaching your goals, really just being fulfilled and being happy, there's principles behind that, and there's also roadblocks. There's things that get in the way.
Yep.
What are some of those things?
The roadblocks?
Sure. Let's start there.
I think doubt. There's a lot of noise out there in the world today, and we're being pulled in a lot of different directions.
Yep.
A lot of times we get sidetracked by the bright and shiny of the world, right? I mean, of course, we all want to succeed. We all want to thrive. We all want to, hit our dreams.
Right.
But a lot of times we just get pulled in a lot of different directions because of social media and the media in general.
Well, like if I mix the two things you just said, Bevan, I can relate to this. Let's say I have a goal. Let's say I want to create some abundance in my life, or I want to get in shape or whatever it is. I can start a lot of times, and then the next day comes and it's like, man, like, I don't know if I can actually do this. Yeah. I don't know if I have what it takes. And then I also have sometimes this thing where it's like, I see it on social media. It should be easy. And then like, why don't I just have it? Why isn't this working for me? And I think what it comes down to is to create a lot of this stuff, it takes consistency and a day in, day out grind in order to create this. And a lot of us don't want to go through that process, right? We just want it and we want it now. And when it doesn't come, that doubt creeps in, gets in the way, right?
Sometimes especially guys like me who tend to struggle with ADHD or ADD or whatever you want to call it, right? And idle mind's the devil's playground. And sometimes when there's too much downtime, at least for me, I can go in a rabbit hole really quickly. Even though that I teach this and coach this stuff, I'm as vulnerable.
It's a lack of focus, and you're going who knows where for the day.
It's so you gotta, I always talk to my athletes and the people that I coach about intentionality. I learned this from John Maxwell years ago when I was going through some of his trainings, and you got to be if you want something, you have to go get it. And you have to be very intentional. And like you said, sometimes we do lose focus. We get up one morning and just, for whatever reason, we woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Right.
And that's okay. It really is.
Can that spiral though? It's like, okay, if I want to get ripped or whatever, and I don't get my butt out of bed, and I eat horribly for the day, and I just feel like shit. It's just like, ugh, and so now, because I feel that way, now I'm thinking this sucks. So I wake up the next day and I do it again. And so I feel worse about myself, and the downward spiral just goes. Does that happen?
Oh, well, all the time.
Right.
All the time. And that's why, like I said, guys like us or guys, when I say us, I mean those of us,
everybody bad
who has ADHD or everybody.
Well, I got ADHD. I'm with you.
But if you're not intentional, and I'm talking laser focused intentional, you're going to get pulled in a direction and go down the wrong hole or get sidetracked, and you're going to lose focus.
Well, how do you address that? So it's like, okay, I know you got to be laser focused, intentional, but let's say that I get off, let's say the ADHD gets the best of me, or the depression, or whatever it is for that day. How do I not let it spiral and actually jump back on ship, get refocused? And like, what are some things you can do so that you don't get in that quagmire and totally get stuck?
First and foremost, you got to put the phone down.
Oh, interesting.
Put the damn phone down.
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially for, us entrepreneurs out there, but you got to put the phone down. And for me, I'll just talk about what works for me. Okay. And I've coached people through it, and it doesn't necessarily work for everyone, but I like to listen to frequencies.
Okay.
And so when I know when I'm going down that rabbit hole and I'm a little out of focus, I put my phone down. I sit there and get focused. And I have a positive focus moment where I focus on the things that I'm really grateful for. I know that sounds cliche, but it really does help.
Oh, I'm a big believer.
Yeah. It really does help. And as I listen to those frequencies and take some breaths and just kind of set into the moment. And it's not like, a lot of times we'll say to ourselves, gosh, dang it, Bevan, just relax.
Right.
Well, you're not going to relax.
Well, you're not, the frequency, now you're beating yourself up to try to relax.
Yep.
So you're not going to relax.
Yep. Yeah. And so the question I've been talking to myself, the things I've been saying to myself is, Bevan, allow yourself to relax.
Oh, I like that.
And
giving permission.
Yes. And even as I say that, I can just feel like there's a monkey on my back and I can feel it come off.
Yep. You're giving some compassion to yourself.
So you give, like you said, you're giving yourself a permission.
Yep.
And you can just kind of settle into where you're at. And if you're sitting there, standing there, wherever you're at, but when you say allow myself to relax, you can just kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to have frequencies. They work for me. I used to think all that stuff was hokey until I met your wife years ago. I mean, I always say, Jen, hey, you have some voodoo stuff I want to learn about.
You got it in you, Bevan. You just don't know it.
She said that to me, but it really opened my eyes. Her work did open my eyes quite a bit. And there is something to frequencies.
Well, yes.
And so for me, that's kind of some of the things that I do.
Well, so when you talk about frequency, like I am a big believer in energy, and if I'm in this quagmire, I'm on a low frequency, I'm going to attract that into my life, and I'm going to just build off of that. Yeah. And so I really like what you're saying, like to just start with your thoughts and the frequency of your thoughts. I also look at other things like the music I'm listening to.
100%.
That's frequency, right?
Yep.
The people that I'm around.
Yep.
Like if I'm depressed and I'm just wallowing, I'm probably not going to be around many people for one. So I'm isolated and alone, or I'm going to attract into my life other victims and depressed people who will validate how I'm feeling.
Yep.
So I need to get out of that frequency, which means surround myself with things that raise up that frequency, whether it's music, whether it's people, whether it's just my thoughts, whatever it is.
And sometimes even that's hard, right? I mean, even that's hard. You put the frequencies on and you're just, man, sometimes you just go down a dark road for a moment, but then it's hard to pull yourself out of. So you got to give yourself some grace and a moment to reacclimate.
Absolutely.
And because a lot of people who hear this they might be in that moment of despair,
right?
And
we're making it sound so easy,
right? Yeah, it's not. But gosh dang it, we can do it.
Right,
we can do it, and you just got to be willing to dig a little deep and go through the refiner's fire, so to speak, and to do that. But when I talk about intentionality, something comes to my mind right now as I sit here is the aggregation of marginal gains.
Okay, wait, let me process that. Okay. I got you.
Okay.
Took me a minute.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's because I am a meathead. I've been meathead my whole life. But we all know going to the gym, you're not going to see results
right.
day one, maybe not even in day 30.
I'm not getting a 6-pack today, Ben.
No.
Oh,
well, you can if you go to the grocery store, but we're talking about the wrong 6-pack.
Right.
No, but it's the consistent habit of doing this. I hate to say it, but the same thing over and over and over and kind of try to improve on it just a little bit every day. Not a lot, just a little bit.
Yep.
And that's where the aggregation of marginal gains come into play is just something done over and over and over. And eventually you want to lose weight and get big and get that 6-pack or whatever. It will come if you're intentional, you have a plan, and you're consistent. Yeah.
And that, I think that's across the board. We talk about it physically, like if I want the 6-pack, but if I want to improve my relationship as a relationship therapist, people come into my office and they're like, hey, I did a session. How come my relationship's not better? And it's no, you go day in and day out and practice little things over and over again with your partner, your relationship's going to improve.
Absolutely.
Right? And financially, same thing, right?
Yep.
Day in and day out discipline, consistency over time is actually going to yield some results.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How'd you say it again? Marginalized
aggregation of marginal gains.
Yeah. So marginal gains, little tiny gains over time actually creates the long term.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there's a side benefit to all of this, Bevan, as you talk about this that we don't see. So it's like, I have a goal. I want to reach that goal and yay, I feel good because I hit that goal. But day in and day out, if you're doing those, I call them dailies. If you're doing those daily practices, you're waking up in the morning with something to do. You're waking up in the morning accomplishing something every single day.
Yep.
And the it's more than a silver lining. The benefit is I don't feel like garbage during the day because I'm actually moving. I'm moving this energy around. I'm creating in my life and I'm not feeling slowed down and depressed, right?
Well, a lot of times what we have to do, and it can be hard, but we have to trim the fat.
Yes.
And I say this, but I battle with this every day too. And I know that when I'm in a bad spot, I'm like, okay, what got me here? I'm 100% responsible for being right where I'm at.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yep.
No one did this to me.
You're not a victim.
I'm not a victim. And that's the first part of overcoming some of this.
Is owning it.
Is owning your crap.
Being honest with yourself.
And most of us adults are not honest.
Right.
With ourselves. We're just not.
Right.
But you got to own it. And
which by the way, then gives you a ton of power to change it once you own it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. It really does. And, but it's like I said, it's still not that easy.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out what got me to this point. Do some reverse engineering.
Right.
And then learn like, oh, okay, well, might've been the show I seen last night. Cause we talked about what you've seen here now.
The energy, right?
The energy. Years ago, I had a coach. He was back east and he taught me just a simple concepts of positive and negative force attractors.
Okay.
And when we think it's okay to go watch that scary movie, whether it's scary or not,
Right.
but it's, it's a little like,
Bring that energy into your space.
I'm just saying, I mean, I get it. We all like that suspenseful type stuff, but it does aggregation of marginal gains.
Right.
If you're going to watch that here and there, it's actually going to add up over time, and you're going to find out, like, why am I in this funk?
Right.
So you have you have to kind of take yourself back to what got you to this point.
Yep. I think about it, Bevan, like I went to lunch with a guy, and he was just a downer, and he was also a taker. Like, he just like, I don't, the relationship wasn't reciprocal, and he had some real dark energy. Mm-hmm. And what do you know? I go home and I'm fighting with my wife that night.
Shoot, yeah.
Shoot. I'm looking at it. I'm like, what? Like, what? Why am I in such a bad mood? Why am I feeling so bad? Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to blame him.
Sure.
But the energy that I exposed myself to was affecting me, and then it was spiraling.
Yep.
Absolutely, that happens.
Yep.
And that can happen with, like you say, media. That's why you say put the phone down. I love that, because the phone does a couple things. The phone's algorithm, or whatever you're looking at, is designed to sell you something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it leads you down into these places where you're exposed to all kinds of stuff that catches your eye, but brings that energy right in front of you.
Yep.
The other thing it's doing is you're usually sitting there or laying there, not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you're not moving at all, right?
Almost like sensationalizing, you see how these guys are making money, or what you can do to make on a side hustle and make some extra cash flow. But I mean, and then you go through this dream mode, and it just doesn't work the way you interpret it.
Right.
And it isn't what you see.
Right.
And that's the thing about media. It's just, you don't really know what you're looking at.
I know this highly successful life coach, like way successful, and you get on his feed and it's like, like, life's awesome, do this, do that. I know him personally, and his life's a mess.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And so, like, energetically, if you watch his stuff, he is making a buck. Mm-hmm. He absolutely is. But he is putting an energy out there that is affecting me and affecting people. Right.
And there's a lot of things that's coming to my mind as we sit here and talk. And you and I have talked about this, Brannon, is your being, how to be.
Right.
And that can be hard.
Yeah.
But if you want to be someone that you're not, you have to learn to become it now.
Right.
It's your being, your being has got to do the doing.
You're right. Yeah. But here's the thing, and maybe we can break this down a little bit, Bevan. A lot of times we get the be do haves backwards.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
100%.
It's, if I do this, then I'll be happy. If I do that, then I'll be happy. When in reality, we need to stop for a minute and focus on, if I be this, then I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to have what I want in my life. Right. Yep. So if I be a person who surrounds himself with love, surrounds himself with other people who are full of purpose in life, then I'm going to do the same things they do, and I'm going to have the same things they have.
Right.
Yep. And I think we get that backwards. If I wake up in the morning and I say, my life sucks, so I need to exercise because my life sucks. I'm not gonna be very motivated, am I?
As you say that, like, I got to get my workout in today. Now I think you ruined it. because you're triggering negative emotions,
right?
To that experience you're trying to get a positive emotion out of,
right? If Bevan hasn't worked out today, but Bevan thinks I'm a badass who works out, and who keeps himself in shape.
There you go.
Then I'm going to go do the workout.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But if you wake up and you say, I suck because I don't work, I haven't worked out yet, so I better.
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to last long term.
Yep.
And that's not going to yield the marginal gains that you're talking about, because you're going to quit.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. There's this thing. I want to talk a little bit about shame, Bevan, because what I see is a lot of people who feel a calling. They feel like God has built them for something, right? And a lot of the stuckness that I see, I want to come back to the doubt a little bit.
Okay.
The stuckness that I see, or even the depression that I see comes out of it, is somebody who's not stepping into what I call their integrity, stepping into their wholeness, because the doubt creeps in and says, you know what, like, you're going to fail, or the world's not going to like it. People will criticize. You're not going to get immediate results. And so why keep throwing yourself over the coals again and again and again to experience that shame again and again and again when you don't feel like it's going to get there.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So do you see how doubt creeps in there of like, well, you did this thing and nobody bought it.
Right.
You started this thing and nobody's listening.
Yep. Let's talk about that part. Just think about when we started to walk. If we quit when we fell the first time or the 100th time,
my mom would still be wiping my butt.
Right. And it's the older we get, I think sometimes we can lose some of that fight.
Yeah.
And I really think it's really important.
We lose the motivation. We get old and we kind of like get comfortable.
And I think the way out of it, in my opinion, is you got to have someone to keep you accountable. Yeah. Whether it's your wife or a coach or a group, someone or a group. Like I've run a lot of mastermind groups in my day, and which do help in the right context. I look at my wife. She's a great example. Every morning when she wakes up, she runs her own businesses, but she's a go-getter. Right. But she gets up every morning, and I'm laying in bed thinking, oh, she's going to come and ask me to do something. And I'm sitting there just catching my Z's, man, just trying to get the last bit of sleep I can get. Right. But she'll go do a workout for about 45 minutes. And she'll come in and get ready, and I can hear her listen to some sort of a talk, motivational stuff, like business good stuff to set her off on her day. Right. And without fail, every single day, Saturdays and Sundays, she does this. Really? And if you know who Darcy is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Talk about high achievement.
Yeah. She's just but
also just like person. Salt of the earth. Yes. Like just,
good people.
Yeah. Both. She both achieves a ton, but is humble with it.
Yes. Very humble. Yeah. Yeah. But she lives her life right. So I've been doing this stuff for 28 years and I'm still working on me. Right. But I watch how she lives her life. And I hope that I rubbed off on her a little bit, and taught her some of those things just by what I talk or what I've taught over the years. But I think she's by far better at the aggregation of marginal gains. Right. Better than I am when it comes to self-improvement, even though that I coach this. Right. I have my own battles too, right? Sure. I get in the way. Sure. But she does a really good job. She's a great example. So when I talk about accountability, maybe that's your accountability, but if you don't have that, which is fine, it's not a good or a bad thing if our spouse doesn't do that or your significant other, but it's like working out at the gym. Right. I go by myself most of the time because I don't know when I'm going to hit it throughout the day. Right. I don't like putting myself into a box and I just kind of go with the flow, but I 100% get more out of my workouts when I have a partner. Yeah. No question. Yeah.
They're pushing you.
Yeah. And it's the same way when you're trying to get better and better yourself.
Yep. I have right now, actually. So I've been off sugar for about a month.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
That's hard.
And I know, but there's one reason I'm off sugar right now. And I've also worked out every day for a month. And it's because I'm on a group text thread with some friends.
There you go.
And like 3 or 4 of them have lost a lot of weight. They're exercising and they're eating right. And every day we're like checking in. We'll send each other videos, text messages, like last night at 11 o'clock at night. One of the guys was like, I haven't worked out He's like, well, you still got
You
time.
better get it done.
And he got it done at 11 last night.
Good for him.
But he was checking in with us, and we were holding accountability. We love each other.
Yep.
We're getting it done together, and it's helping with those aggregate gains big time.
Yes.
Because I got that support. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love it.
Yep.
So I think you're absolutely right. I want to come back to what you said about Darcy, because she might not be cracking the whip. Like, hey, Bevan, did you get your workout in? You better have.
Right.
Darcy doesn't do that. But one thing that she does when we talk about frequency is she influences you because you're living with her.
Right.
And when she's waking up and she's grinding and she's doing that type of stuff, it might make you feel a little guilty sometimes.
For sure.
Because she's like doing
she's out producing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's a great example. And I think that can really be a good influence as well. She might not be like totally holding you accountable,
right,
but she's setting a great example. She's influencing you, and she's good frequency.
You're always teaching what you're, always the concept. You're always teaching what you're modeling, regardless of what you're teaching.
Oh man, don't say that to me. All the father guilt just hit me hard.
Right?
No wonder my kids love to watch TV so much.
Yeah. So, she doesn't have to prod me. And of course, if you know me, I'm not very good to be not good at someone pointing their finger at me.
That's not going to motivate you.
No, it's not. But so she knows how to get me going, but she's not, I just watch what she does.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's a great teacher.
Yeah. Just by how she lives her life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And you know what? She's blessed to have you because you influence her, and vice versa. Right.
Yeah.
But
I hope so.
But coming back to cutting the fat, and I think this is what can be really difficult for people sometimes, is if you look at the results of your life and what you're getting, it's a culmination of all these frequencies. And sometimes people really don't want to cut the fat, because cut the fat means get rid of some of the relationships in your life. Get out of that piece of crap job that you've been in for so long, but you're so scared. You're hardly making anything, but you're so scared to quit because it's safe. Like, cutting the fat can be chaotic, and it can be scary because it's change, right? But if you don't cut the fat, all of that gets in the way of replacing it with these better inputs into your life.
I'm a real believer that there is no easy way out. Everything's hard. Staying where you're at's hard.
That's true.
Changing's hard. And when you change, I'm 50 years old, and and I have a lot of behaviors that I'm still working, that I've worked on for years, that I would like to get rid of. And, but it's hard. Yeah. Right. It's hard to make that change because you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, as I've watched these changes that I'm making, as I work on them, you do fill it with something different.
Right.
And, I mean, and if you, again, it goes back to intentionality. If you want to change bad enough, and you're intentional enough and consistent enough, you'll change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll change.
But it's like you say, even if it's good, it's hard.
It's hard. And
I think of it, and I think this relates. Years ago, I was working with this guy, and he was struggling with porn addiction, and his marriage wasn't awesome, and he started just working it. Started working recovery, like started showing up as an empathetic, honest, masculine, healthy man in his relationship. And his wife hated it. She hated it. Now, you think
she's now experiencing the change.
Yeah, she's used to him playing small.
Yeah.
She's used to hiding behind him because I can blame him for all my problems. And so there he is as a man who wants to build trust and safety and intimacy and all these things. And she actually went out and bought a stack of Playboys and put them all over the counter in the kitchen. Because she wanted him to just start indulging and just like going to town, right? Like, she's sabotaging the good change.
Yeah.
Because her frequency was down there, and he started to change that frequency, which means discomfort for her to get up to that frequency with him. Right.
Yeah.
And we sabotage ourselves.
Yep.
We'll sabotage others if we don't like that they're changing for the good.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
it can happen for sure. Yeah.
Yep. So, man, we've talked about a lot today, Bevan.
Yeah.
This has been a really fun discussion. I hope as we're talking that it will just get people thinking a little bit about not staying stuck in the quagmire. Right?
I think, my heart goes out to people who do struggle, and then more and more struggling every day than ever before. And you see that.
Right. Mental health's
a big
depression,
deal.
anxiety.
It's a big deal.
Absolutely.
I think I'm not a big fan of, and maybe this is where I'm wrong, but I think that I struggle with mental health. I struggle with depression and anxiety and those type of things. And it is difficult and it is hard, but I don't like to give it too much energy.
Yes.
Like, I have depression every now and again, or I struggle with ADHD, or my anxiety can just go through the roof, and I recognize it, but I'm not going to just be a victim to it and say, it's my anxiety, it's my depression, it's my mental health.
Right.
And you keep, and I hear a lot of people just keep referring to that, but they're allowing themselves to be victims to it.
Right.
But it's hard.
This sounds like a heartless thing to say, and I know depression is real. I know anxiety is real. I know these are real mental health disorders, right? I'm a therapist. I believe in mental illness, all of those things. Yeah. It doesn't do a depressed person very much good to wake up in the morning and just say, well, I'm depressed.
Right.
And my lens of life is that I'm a depressed person.
You're right.
Because then you're going to just see depression.
Right.
I'm a depressed person, right? And so you can acknowledge I feel depressed.
Yep.
I'm having one of those days where I'm a little down.
Yep.
But I'm a person who feels depressed, who can absolutely do opposite action to what that depression is telling me.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get out of bed. I can get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work out today. I can work out. I don't want to call that friend. I can call that friend, because the depression does not define me.
Right.
Right.
Totally.
I know I make it sound easy.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. But I have talked to people who just, they've been diagnosed with depression.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like,
boom.
There's
their crutch to lean on.
That's it. That's all I am now. Yeah. And I've defined myself as that. And so I'm going to be that now.
Yep.
Right.
Totally.
And so I really like what you just said, Bevan, of like, acknowledge it. It's there. It's real. Then have some compassion for yourself. You can even sit in it a little bit. Like, man, I'm feeling this.
Yep.
This is real for me. I'm not going to pretend like it's not there.
Yep.
And now I'm going to ask myself what I need to do about it.
Well,
right?
When you talk about what you do about it, one thing that's really helped me is to let it know that I'm going to kick its ass today.
Yeah, I love it. Yes.
I'll get up and I can feel that. I'm like, get out of the wrong side of the bed. I notice I'm being negative or thinking negative. I'm like, and I have it learned, instead of running from it, to run to it and say, hey, let's go, brother. Let's go. I'm going to kick your ass today.
I love that.
And that for me, that has done a lot.
Yes. Yes.
I know it's there, but fine. I'm not going down without swinging. That's for sure.
Because it wins by you not acknowledging it, pretending like it's not there, or acknowledging it so much that it defines you.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
As opposed to separating yourself from it, saying, I see you there and now I'm going to kick your ass. Yep. I'm going to go into this. Man,
you said a good thing. What you mentioned there is, I think if we all can get to that point where I'm trying to think of alter ego.
Yes.
It's okay for us to find that alter ego, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing it anyways. If you're allowing depression to bring you down, that's your alter ego. That's who I am.
Yep.
And that's, for me, that's unacceptable.
Right.
It's just unacceptable.
Right.
Though I struggle with it and I fight, and my wife will tell you, I struggle with it quite a bit.
Right.
But I'll get up in the morning and I'm going to go to battle, and I'm going to fight my way through this. And it doesn't have to be a fight necessarily, but sometimes it is.
Right.
Sometimes it definitely is.
Right. And you say a fight, I just like the concept of, I'm not going to accept this as my reality. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do what is in my power to deal with it. Right. Versus like succumbing to it. Right. So, Bevan, thank you, man. This has been an awesome discussion.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure you guys can see why I wanted Bevan to come on. If this was helpful, please leave a review. Mention Bevan by name, give him a shout out, tell him thank you. And also don't be shy to share this, and have an awesome day. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.